What's up, gaming heroes, and welcome back to another awesome episode of the Gaming Hero podcast. In today's episode, I have the most wonderful content creator in all the world. We actually share a really similar type of community, and it is my absolute pleasure to introduce Krakenlatte. Say hello, my friend.
Hello. Well, hi. That was quite the introduction. Now I'm all blushy. Hello, how are you?
Well, feel free to introduce yourself to the audience for anyone who doesn't know who you are and what you're all about.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. I am Krakenlatte, as the mighty Eero has said, and I am a YouTube and stream, like Twitch streamer. I don't stream on YouTube, but I do a lot of World of Warcraft content specifically. I used to do other stuff, but I focused on World of Warcraft casual stuff, as you might call it. I like to call it hardcore casual. Guides, fun stuff, collectathon, all of that non-competitive type stuff for funsies. So, we're pretty laid back. I have a fantastic community, so shout out to all of my lovelies, my little
You do
cracklings.
have an incredible community, I've got to say. I absolutely love like how close and tight knit you guys are, and you all have each other's backs in like the best way.
Absolutely, yes. The community makes the streamer, I like to say. So it makes me happy.
And your avatar, explain your avatar. Is this like an octopus with drinking coffee?
Yes, I am a Kraken, so I can, specifically of the Shathyaric sort, so a Nazathian Kraken, if you will. And these are my
Whoa.
fins on my head, so...
Oh my
I,
gosh. That is
yes,
so cool. I love
thank
it.
you. I do drink coffee.
And you drink coffee as well.
Yes.
So is this like a VR then? Does it like, based off your like facial expressions and things like that, does this like do different things as a result?
It does. It does. This is a full-on, even though it looks like a PNG, it is a full-on VTube avatar. So when I move my head around, I blink. The ear fins are connected to my eyebrows, so I can waggle my ears there. It's pretty cute. I can do all kinds of things with a book. I got glasses for nerd mode. I got all kinds of stuff. It's pretty great.
That is badass, dude. I love that.
Thank you. It's been fun. Absolutely fun.
Oh my gosh. What do you like to be called? Do you like to be called Kraken, Krakenlatte, Latte? What's your favorite name?
Just Kraken's perfectly fine. That's what
Kraken.
most people like to call me.
It's what
It
I've always
works
called
out.
you, isn't it? I just
Yeah.
like to double check.
Yeah.
So, when did you start playing like World of Warcraft?
Oh boy, that's a tale. But I'll give you the TLDR. So technically, the best kind of correct. I started back in 2004, but I didn't stick around. It wasn't really my type of game. I would play like every expansion for like the first few weeks to a month and then quit and uninstall because I was that weirdo. Not saying that's bad if you do that. It's just I didn't stick around. And then mid-mop, I was convinced by a friend at the time. So that would be 2013, the 5.2 Thunder King patch. I came back and have stuck around ever since, no breaks. So
Wow.
what is that, 11 years now? Gosh, I'm old.
Ah. So, I started playing World of Warcraft when I was 11 years old.
Aw.
Yeah, I know. Little arrow. I'd make
Little
a
baby
rogue in
hero.
Elwyn Forest. Then I'd get to like level 9. And then I'd be like, let's make another character. And I just do it over and over again, you know.
Yep. I know that feel.
It took me like 2 years to get past level 50 because I just kept making so many characters.
Oh gosh. Ain't that the truth?
How old were you when you started World of Warcraft, if you don't mind me asking?
Let's see. So now I gotta do some math. Let's see. I am 32 right now.
Oh, okay, so
So
similar age to myself then.
yeah.
Okay, got you.
So
So you must have been like 12, 13 when you started?
something like that. Let's see. 20, 24 minus 2013. So when I officially stuck around, let's see, I would have been plus 11. 103. I cannot do math. Never mind, forget
I
it.
was
in my
103 when I
was
started
100.
World of Warcraft.
Back in my day.
I'm speaking to Deckard Cain now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not speaking to Krakenlatte anymore.
Apologies, my Shathiaric age is trying to creep in there, so we'll go with 13. See, 92. Yeah.
So you were 103
so.
then when you started World of Warcraft.
We'll go with that. You know what? It's canon.
Look, lattes age like not lattes. Kraken's aged in a different way to normal people. Okay, especially because of the drinking so much latte. It happens, dude. Like, you know.
It does. It does. My blood is coffee.
I had to like limit the amount of coffee I have per day because I start getting like shakes and stuff, dude. I start getting it goes so bad.
I think I'm kind of immune to it.
Probably you do get to the point where you've had so much caffeine, you do get immune. I get it. I get it. I get dehydrated, you know, because I just drink too much coffee and then I don't drink anything else.
Oh yeah, yeah. See, I have coffee, water, tea. It looks like I have V8. I have a lot of liquid, as you can.
That's good. That's good because you like it's a diet. Is it a diuretic? Yeah, that's it. So it makes you go to the toilet. So like you have to drink other drinks, but I didn't used to. That was my problem.
Gotcha. I also put a lot of cream in mine. I do actually drink lattes almost every time, so the name is almost literal. So I think that's part of it. It's half cream and half coffee, so it's
fancy.
Fancy, exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. So, quick question: what's your favorite zone in World of Warcraft?
Oh boy, we're getting into the controversial territory.
Oh, here we go. If you say them more, I'm quitting.
It might have crossed my mind. I mean, oh, let's see, because my top, I have a lot. I love World of Warcraft zones. We're just gonna put that right there, and so it's very hard for me to pick. But if I had to pick like a top few, Frostfire Ridge, Deepholm, Ardenweald, Uldum, probably like maybe Howling Fjord. Azure Span's definitely up there now. A lot of stuff like that. Ooh, Gorgrund, that's another good one.
I love Gorgrund.
I love very dramatic zones where it's like fire and ice and like the colors really contrast. So very visually dramatic zones make me honestly pretty happy. So places like Westfall, sorry, I'm kind of like, eh.
No, it's fine. You know? I love it.
Yeah.
I actually love Vashj'ir. That's my favorite.
Oh, I love Vashj'ir.
And Tanaris is my two favorites.
That's another good one.
Yeah, Tanaris is a weird one. It's like one side it's like an oasis, and the other side it's just like a dead desert. You know?
Yeah, it's kind of like a wasteland desert. It's funky.
Yeah. I don't know why. Like if there was player housing in any zone, I'd choose Tanaris all day long.
Hey, mad respect. And you got that cool backdrop of the ocean on one side, and then Ungoro nearby, and the Uldum gates.
Yeah, Caverns of Time. You got pirates. Dude, I'm never running out of alcohol, ever.
You get on the rum trade.
That's it. You know? Whilst we're on this subject, I've got to ask you, do you know the movies Jumanji?
Dude, I love that movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Good one.
Well, Kraken, if you're down for this, I'd like to Jumanji you right now, okay? I'm throwing you into World of Warcraft for the rest of your life, okay?
Oh, no.
You need to choose a race. You need to choose a class, 2 professions, 1 mount, and where your home is going to be.
By the Titans, you're asking those questions to an alcoholic?
Yeah, that's right. You get this. You're getting Jumanji'd. You're getting thrown into one.
No.
Into one.
Oh, okay. Well, if I had to pick, I'm probably gonna go with my main, which is gonna be Human Paladin. Yes, I know, we won't. But Human Paladin, and probably Retribution if I had to focus a spec. I would live probably up in Northrend somewhere. Likely... Oh, Storm Peaks is lovely. I do love the architecture up there. So probably there. I would pick probably blacksmithing and mining. I do love mining. Like, I do wish we kind of had more immersive mining in a WoW. I love the idea of going to the mines and fighting off zombies and like mining Saronite. That sounds cool. Making epic weapons after I come back. So probably blacksmithing and mining and what was the rest of that? Did I answer all that?
You got your 2 professions, place to live, class, and race, and you've done it all.
Excellent. Look at that.
That's amazing. Oh, mount.
Oh, mount. Ooh. Oh, I gotta have a trusty proto-drake if I'm living up in Storm Peaks.
I thought you were going to say Snowy Griffin. That's what I thought. I thought maybe she said Snowy Griffin because where you were saying you wanted to stay. I love that. That's so cool.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I thought about a griffin. I was like, oh, I love griffins. Like, they're one of my favorite beasts, but like, I don't think a griffin would fare very well if there's a lot of drakes around, so.
That's true. That's true. I just like the Snowy Griffin. I forget that might exist, but cute. I love it so much. You know,
I want an updated version so bad.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
Yeah, agreed.
It's very angular.
It is. Yeah. It's kind of like, it's like, you know, we could add a curve here. It doesn't need to be triangles in everything.
Exactly. It's part origami wings. Oh, gosh.
So you create loads of content. And we do, if anyone doesn't know, this podcast is sponsored by GamingHero.io, which is basically a World of Warcraft guides website. And we get members on there, and members get the chance to ask questions of anyone who we podcast with. And we do have a question for you if you're okay with me asking.
Sure, go ahead.
So this question comes from the lovely Get Zapped, who you know, I believe.
I do.
And Get Zapped wants to know, how are you so organized with your content creation? How do you stay on top of it? And then he also said, ask her a little bit about her fancy spreadsheets.
Well, to the first question, that's the fun part. I'm not.
Wow.
I just appear like I'm organized. I'm very, like, I like to call myself a chaotic neutral because, like, I appear very organized. The end result is organization. But I live and die by to-do lists because I tend to be very forgetful, and I live and die by alarms, to-do lists, constant reminders of everything I need to do. But I kind of like the chaos just because it keeps me active because I get bored very easily, and I do enjoy it. I'm in a bit of a laze at the moment to take a little bit of a break, but in terms of work, I think it's just because I enjoy what I do. In the grand scheme of things, I look forward to my work. And so that lets me put out a lot of content seemingly in an organized fashion because I look forward to it. You know, there's something to be said about liking your job. If you don't like it, you're going to struggle.
Yeah. I'm totally on board with what you just said there because you and I both know YouTube, right? If we wanted to get like tons of views and all you really cared about was getting views, the strategy to make content is totally different to actually making content you care about.
Extremely. Vastly different. You gotta follow trends, you gotta play with the algorithm, like you gotta constantly change and kind of, it gets a little, I don't know, predatory after a while.
It's so predatory because say someone puts out a video that pops off, you've now got to make a video similar to that video that also pops off because they've got a trend, and it feels like stealing content, doesn't it?
It really kind of does. And like on the note of stealing content, that's something I do deal with often, and I feel like it's pretty common, is the imposter syndrome. Like Mr. GM, who I look up to, fantastic guy, sweet man, puts out a lot of very similar content in some cases. We do very different styles, but I often struggle with, his stuff is always doing so much better than mine. I could have done better. And I'm like, no, I need to just do it my way because people that watch me for me. If they wanted Mr. GM, they would go to Mr. GM. And they could do both. I don't care. People like to see it as a competition. I try not to think of it as one, even though sometimes it creeps in, but... So, you know, anyone is struggling with that, you're gonna fight it. I'm
so on board with what you're saying there. Like, as someone who's in the same kind of niche as you in many ways, I've done a lot of content that's similar to Hazelnutty, Mr. GM. I remember we did the same fishing competition video.
That's right, we did.
Yeah,
yes.
and
so unintentional.
I was like, I was like, oh no, I hope she doesn't think I'm doing this because of her video. And then I was like, you know what? This is just my style of doing it, and Kraken's got her style of doing this. And
Exactly.
you just have to kind of accept at some point you're going to make the same like videos as other people in certain ways.
And we play the same game. We have the same, very similar interests. We're gonna end up making the same type of guides. It's just gonna happen. And besides, I might bring up points you didn't. You might bring out stuff I didn't. And if you watch both, you get the whole banana. So,
yeah, exactly. And often you'll explain something in a totally different way to me, and someone who doesn't understand what I'm saying would watch your video, and they might take something completely different from your video. You know?
Exactly. So that's why I like watching a variety of WoW tubers or just any content in general, because you really do get kind of all the different aspects and see how people work. And someone might not jive with your style, but someone else will. And, so.
I really get worried sometimes seeing some of the newer content creators in World of Warcraft, like really new, who come in and they literally copy someone's video an hour after they've uploaded. Like they remake that same video an hour. They're like noticing they're getting views, so they remake the same video like an hour after. That stuff gets under my skin.
Yeah, that's definitely a different monster entirely. Because then it's just copycatting at that point. Like it seems more purposeful.
It does, and I get the passion. They want to get loads of views, but sometimes it can be really demotivating, can't it?
It can. It definitely can.
But,
and that's kind of, you have to look at it as why are you doing what you're doing? And like, if you're trying to do it for the views, that type of stuff can come and go because it's not going to last. But if you really are doing it because you're passionate, and I have to tell myself this often, it's not just for you guys, it's for me too, then you're going to stick around. Like, I mean, you could say I've survived the drought of Warcraft because I was here through Shadowlands. I was here through part of BFA. Like, content creation, that was not a good time.
It wasn't.
That was not a good time. It was rough. I lost over half my subscribers. Like, my channel went down the toilet. And I was like, I do this because I love it. I do this because I love it. I do this because I love it. You know?
You know what, Kraken? When all the allegations came out, oh my gosh. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, I do.
And like everyone just quitting WoW? That was a hard time. It was
frustrating too. Not just because of that, but like then you'd have people turning around on content creators like us and taking out their frustrations on us and accusing us of stuff like that. I was like, whoa, I'm just over here mogging cool pants. What do you want from me?
Like accusing us of like supporting it because we don't quit the game. And we're like, dude, I'm a gamer. Like, it's not my business what a company does. Like that, I'm not like, I don't like it, but I play the game, not the company.
Exactly. And like every company is going to have their issues, but we're seeing that it seems they're working through it. So, I mean, I'm still going to support them for that. If they were not working through it, that would be a different story.
In the most selfish way possible, you don't even need to be supporting the company. You can just enjoy the game that they've got, you know?
Exactly. And like at the end of the day, like even if you are supporting it, don't look at it as supporting the corporate conglomerate. You're supporting the devs who put their heart and soul into this game because they love World of Warcraft just as much as we do. That's why they're there making it. So that's what, if you want to support someone, support the devs.
Exactly. So here's a quick question. How do you decide what type of content you want to create next?
I get this question often, and unfortunately my answer is not great because I literally just kind of do what I want. And I know that's not what people like to hear, but it's my guides I kind of look at as a history of me because I'm like, oh, I'm working on this right now. That means I have this information on hand because I'm researching this topic. Maybe other people would like to know how I'm doing this. And that's why I try to phrase my titles how I do X. Because it's not, this is the fastest route. This is how you get all the thing. This is how I did it. Maybe this will help you. So my guides are literally what I'm doing right now. So
that's awesome.
That's how I decide what guides to make. So.
It's so funny you say that because that's exactly how I made that fishing contest video. And like my twink video and my speed set videos. Like I was just doing that stuff myself, you know? Like, and I imagine for you, it's like you do it when you're like trying to collect a awesome mount or like an archaeology thing.
Exactly. Where I'm just like, oh, I need to get this thing. Let's see, how do I do that? Oh, this is more complex than I thought it was. Let's make a guide. And because I do use my own guides. Just yesterday, I had to look up some of my Covenant stuff, but because I couldn't remember. So I was like, oh yeah, I use my own guides.
It's so funny you say that. I had a guildie last Sunday say to me, you know that big dragon, like the thundering ruby cloud serpent, how do I get that? And I was like, yeah, I can't remember, but I've got a video on it. So
yes, I do.
I looked up
so
my video and linked it.
Perfect. I'm like, I got you, boo. Just slaps the link down. Like, how about them apples? They're like, whoa!
It's like, you made this six years ago. Is it still relevant? Yeah, it's still relevant.
Exactly. That's the best part too.
Yeah. It's so true what you were saying about how it's like a history of what you do.
It really is. I look back and go, oh, I've come so far since then.
So you have, as like we've already established, an amazing community. Whenever I stop by your streams, it's always popping off. So here's a question: how important is your community to you, and how did you first create your community?
Well, I can answer the first one more directly. They're extremely important to me because, to me, in terms of streaming, they're what have made streaming fun. I'm getting all flustered over here just thinking about it.
Oh,
because I was really, really nervous starting up streaming because I tend to be, it doesn't seem like it, but I tend to be a very, I don't want to say shy, but I'm very introverted naturally. So talking to people I don't know can be very difficult for me unless I have something very specific to say, which is why guides work for me.
yeah.
But as the community was kind of forming and growing while I was streaming, they just kind of eroded that away, and I felt fantastic. And I was like, you guys are amazing. I love you, and I'm very happy and grateful for them. And so they mean the world to me. I feel bad when I can't stream because I'm like, I can't be there with my people. You know? That's what it's kind of become. And in terms of like how I grew that community, honestly, like for people looking into getting into streaming, I have to tell them don't look at how I did things because I'm a bad example. Because I had 5 years of YouTube, which is very difficult, under my belt before I picked up Twitch streaming. That's where all of my viewers came from. They were all supporters and fans from my YouTube channel that moved over to help support me when I was like, hey guys, I'm going to Twitch. And they're like, oh my God. And so, we went over there together. So new streamers, don't do what I did. It was rough. But that's why, like, technically that's how my community formed, was from my YouTube channel. But that's also, it came with a lot of hardship because YouTube is not a friendly place. It is not for the thin-skinned.
So true.
It really is. And you just have to look past the rudeness and smile at the good comments,
You know, I'm starting to realize, like, we're not old, but we're a similar age, right? I wouldn't say we're old at all. We're still very young. But we're old enough that we've got some experience now in life. And, one thing I'm realizing, like, as my life goes on, and this is, like, a really weird thing to say, but the moments where I've had the most pain and bad things happen swiftly are followed by some of the best moments of my life. Like,
they really are.
Yeah, like some of the best moments of my life happen directly after something bad has happened. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean. Well, it's that old adage of the night is always darkest before the dawn, as they say. So it really is kind of that.
The night is always darkest before the dawn.
Yes.
That is kind of beautiful, isn't it? That saying.
Isn't it? I love it. I love old sayings like that. I'm old.
Old soul.
Old soul,
no,
exactly.
Yeah, but for me, just because I've asked you the question, I'll answer as well. Like, I made the Gaming Heroes when I basically decided to separate from, like, my school friends and kind of go a different way in life. And it was such a
Yeah.
lonely experience. Like for like 2 months, I was so lonely and sad. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a community of people who I like to play games with and who are friendly and they're positive and they want the best for each other. And that's how my community was born. But it came from like a really sad place, if that makes sense.
It does. It makes absolute sense. Like when I made my YouTube channel in 19, it's not that old. It's only been a few years now. Um, I was doing it for a college project because it was kind of fun, but it was something I always wanted to do. Like I wanted to start way back when I started WoW officially in 13, but the friend I had at the time was very toxic and abusive and told me that no one's going to like you. They're going to hate what you do. Don't you dare do that. You're going to suck and it's going to hurt. And I foolishly listened. So who you're around really does affect who you are, but I'm glad I did it later because it was kind of a, you know what? I'm not around here anymore. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this for a college project because I needed to anyways. They wanted me to make a step-by-step tutorial in anything I wanted. And you know what that video was? It was the Brutosaur video that everybody loves from way back in the day. It's actually like been re-uploaded like 3 times because the first few were like terrible quality, and so the last version was the one I did for my final, ironically, which I aced, by the way. Anyway.
That's amazing.
Right? But I loved it so much. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep doing this. She was wrong. I don't care if people don't like what I'm doing. I enjoy what I'm doing. And so I kept doing it. And here I am.
I watched this YouTuber called Alpha M. It's like it's a big YouTuber that talks about business. And he was saying, this is just yesterday I watched this video. He was saying in that some of his like, and he's like a multi-millionaire. He's done really well for himself, but like 10 years ago, he was like almost living on the streets. Like that's how poor he was. And he was saying some of his most successful moments have come right when his friends or family members have said, don't do this, it's not going to work. And then he does it anyway. But it's
it really
interesting.
Is a true thing. It is. It really is a true thing. And I can completely relate. I've had that many times throughout my life, honestly. It's, as much as I hate to say it, sometimes the best thing has come out of taking risks.
So
and
true.
What's the worst thing that's going to happen? It doesn't work out, fine. You know what? Try something else. And you just kind of have to roll with the punches. Because if you don't, you're just not going to get where you want. You're not going to be happy. And you're going to regret your life at the end of it. And I don't want that. I don't want to regret. I have a lot of regrets, believe me. I've had a lot of trauma in my life that I have to recover from. So my desire is to push through that, be the best that I can, even if it means struggling sometimes, you know?
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's always something to learn from them, isn't there? There's always something to gain by those bad experiences. But hey ho. So do you have any memorable moments specifically, like on streams or with your community, where you just thought, I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life?
Oh gosh, yes, honestly. I mean, it's going to sound a little sappy, but I think literally my first couple of streams on Twitch, and I know that's kind of like, oh, that's such a cop-out because it's like your first couple streams, but I really do remember them kind of the clearest, even though it's because I knew nothing about how to stream. I had streamed before on YouTube, but let me tell you, Twitch is a completely different beast. And I was scared. I really was scared because I was so used to the hate that I had received from negative commenters over all of Shadowlands. We were just starting, because I technically just started streaming with Dragonflight. So I had just come out of that recession of WoW, if you will. And I was like, I want to stream so bad, but I'm so scared. I was actually shaking because I'm like, am I going to have to like ban so many people? I don't want to deal with this. And then I got in there and like 300 people showed up for my first stream ever. And I practically was in tears because they were the sweetest, kindest, giving me all the support and love. And I was like, holy, where did you come from? I love you. Thank you. And I've not forgotten that because that really kind of solidified my, yes, I did make the right decision.
I think I was one of your viewers there, by the way. I'm pretty sure I was definitely in one of your first couple streams.
And my first streams were so bad because the quality was awful. I didn't have anything nice that I have now. My mic was trash. Like, it was a rough start, but man, the support, I'm just not gonna forget it, honestly. 'Cause they were the air under my wings, if you will.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you have really high quality streams, to be fair. And I can totally see why that's so memorable for you. Here's one thing, because whenever I pop into your stream, you are always, you've got multiple conversations going on with multiple people. It's like always popping off in the chat. How do you keep your Twitch streams engaging?
Well, honestly, it's kind of an interesting topic because I look at it as my viewers, they want to be engaged with, right? Because I see that a lot. Like, to me, that's the point of streaming, is to engage with your viewers. They want to see you, not just what you're doing. If they wanted to see what you're doing, they can go watch a YouTube video. So with that mindset, I try to talk to every single one of them as much as I can. It can be a little crazy sometimes, but it helps in a couple of ways. Because to me, bless you.
Sorry.
You're fine. They're feeding me content. That sounds funny, but they are, because I'm just doing whatever I'm doing in WoW, and they're there, someone's like, hey, how was your day? What are you doing? And I'll read what they say so that everybody hears what this person has to say, and then I answer. And the next person will probably comment on it or has a different question. And since everyone's names are color-coded, I can keep every conversation in line with each other by the colors. But I just keep it going, and it becomes this game of how well can I keep up with my viewers? And that's my focus during the stream, which means I'm playing terribly in WoW, but they're my focus. And so that's how I keep them in line, because I'm not really paying attention to the game, usually. So that's why I'm like, hold on, guys, I gotta focus. You know?
I have a very similar style, I think, for like the way I approach my thing, exactly the same. Do your viewers ever say funny things about you to you?
They do, and I was a narrator for a marketing company for a while. I won't get into the details, but because of that, I say I have teleprompter brain. And so I'll just read what they're telling me. And then I'll like pause and be like, what did you just say? And then everybody thinks it's hilarious because they know that about me now. And so they can just kind of make me say things. And I'm like, guys, this isn't Anchorman. Stop.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. Love it. And Anchorman was hilarious when they did that.
Yes. Because it's so true. Teleprompter brain is so true. That's how I read my scripts for my videos. You just turn off your thought and read what you have written.
Yeah.
You just read the script. And so to me, they're writing my script for me, which can be a little dangerous sometimes.
You know, one thing I get it. So this happens to me as well, the whole telescriptor thing. But I often get like jokes about my shoulders, because like one time I admitted to my audience that I used to be really self-conscious about my shoulders. Like I work out like 4 times a week at the gym, and like I wanted to have like big wide shoulders, but like my genetics just aren't there for my shoulders. So even though I work them out a lot, they're never going to be big. They're just going to be strong. And I admitted it once to the audience like 2 years ago. They never forgot it. They remind me every stream, and they'll say things like, hello, Mr. Erosium, of the smallest shoulders in history, like, or something like this.
Mean.
And I'll reply, I'll just read it. Hello, Mr. Erosium of the biggest shoulders in history. Like, I'll just like change what they've said just to kind of troll them back.
Just to troll them, yes.
Yeah.
Keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, exactly. But it's fun, isn't it, to do that?
It is. And sometimes I like, because my streams, like on that note too, I do that a little bit of that in terms of like trying to censor people a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Only because I do have a safe for work stream. It's not a not safe for work. I try to keep the cursing down to a minimum as much as possible. Like, I'm going to say shit once in a while, but you know, it just naughty things we try to keep out of chat. So when they start talking like that, they'll notice I will glaze over certain words. I've gotten kind of good at that. And I think my viewers are brilliant because they will like, oh, I probably shouldn't talk like that quietly, and just kind of start adjusting how they're talking. And I'm like, thank you, I love you. because I know I have children that watch. I know I have literal children from toddler to teen
Yep.
that do watch my streams. They talk sometimes with their
Parents with their
parents.
children. Happens a
Yep.
lot.
I've been thanked for keeping clean streams because of that. And I'm like, I want to keep that. So you are correct. You reminded me of that.
I once had a Christian community message and say, hey, just to let you know, we've got like a gaming Christian community. We have streamers on, and you're one of the streamers that's hosted in this community. So anything, you know, when you talk, like, just try and keep that in mind. And it was just like, it changed the way I viewed stuff. Like,
it really does.
I stopped the potty mouth after that.
You because it's like others might see that as something weird, but I feel like it's a compliment because you become a sort of safe space for people of just any age, race, and creed. And I like that. I like being that everybody's welcome here as long as we get along. If you're going to have a dispute, do it calmly, respectfully. If you're going to fight, take it out of the chat. Like, you know.
Yeah. One thing I love is when someone says something really nasty to me in the chat and I read it, but change it into something positive.
I've not had that yet.
I love that.
I've only had a couple people actually do that because I think because my community is so strongly positive, the only couple times I've ever had that, I immediately had everyone come to my back like, hey, no, we don't talk that.
The best thing about having a community is that.
Yes. I was like, I didn't even have to do anything. And I was like, oh,
yeah.
Well, thank you guys.
You don't need to defend yourself at all. That's it.
Nope. Which I appreciate majorly that they've got my back. So
what would you say is your biggest challenge you face really as like a streamer on Twitch?
My biggest challenge as a streamer on Twitch, I think, is really kind of, again, that imposter syndrome and the motivation.
Can you explain what imposter syndrome is for like anyone that doesn't know?
Sure, I can. Let me give you the technical definition here, so I'm not talking out my tentacles. It's defined imposter syndrome, if I could spell. Wow.
Okay.
Here we go. The persistent inability to believe that one's success is deserved or has been legitimately achieved as a result of one's own efforts or skills. That's the technical definition. But what it kind of boils down to for like artists is other people have already done what I'm doing. I'm not good enough, and I either need to do better or just quit. Like, that feels like imposter syndrome, and I fight with that a lot, because I'll catch myself looking at other larger streamers, being like, oh, I wish I could do better. What is it that I can do to do better? But then I have to make myself refocus on my own community and be like, I'm doing amazing. Shut up. Shut up, me. I'm doing amazing. I love my people here. I need to not look at others, because I've had to like actually stop watching other streamers for a while, off and on, because I start getting discouraged. I'm very kind of inwardly negative naturally, and I have to be very cautious of that, because I'll be, oh, that could have gone so much better. I shouldn't have said X. I should have, you know. And that's what my biggest struggles are for streaming, because it's just me. I'm my own obstacle in this instance. And it's a personal thing that I have to work through.
So I didn't even know about like imposter syndrome, but I realized I've probably had that myself in some instances, you know.
It's very common, more than people realized. It is, especially in creatives and artists. So
I'm going to be real with you for just a second here, like completely straight, like just speak from the top. You know that thing like that in the UK recently, Mr. GM held the World of Warcraft event in London?
Yeah.
It broke my heart I didn't get invited to it. It broke my heart. Like, I for real was sat in the sauna one day, just like, shit, am I a terrible content creator? Like, why didn't I get an invite to that? Like, I live only like an hour away. I could have been there. I could have done stuff. I was so sad about that, but I had to like kind of talk myself up and say, look, it's not that. It's just that there are other people popping off right now, and it's their time to shine. It's not like
exactly
your time right now. That doesn't mean it won't
Yep.
be. It just isn't right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yes,
But
exactly.
that whole imposter syndrome, feeling bad about things, feeling like I don't deserve like my subscribers, stuff like that crept in right then.
Yep, that's exactly what that is.
You know?
It's a lot of people have it. It's not an uncommon thing, and that right there is my, like, sometimes I feel like a fraud because that is part of the imposter syndrome. You don't feel like you've earned what you've done legitimately. And I have. I absolutely have, because I've tried not to be clickbaity. I've tried not to, follow trends. I just want to do what I want to do and be authentic about it. But that's what that is. That's the imposter syndrome kicking in, being like, "No, you didn't earn this. You didn't work hard enough. You shouldn't have been lazy over here. You shouldn't have been that. These creators are better than you." And that really is my biggest challenge.
Yeah. Do you ever have the challenge you've got too many things going on?
Oh, every day. Oh gosh, that's my
Yeah.
life in a
Because
nutshell.
I have too many businesses for me, and running them all same time is impossible. I've realized it now. So I've had to like take a couple out back and just bye bye.
Oh yeah,
Just say I love you, but I don't have time for you.
That's kind of what I've had to do over the past year and a half-ish, which is why there probably hasn't been as much content on my YouTube channel, because I really wanted to focus on streaming, try to get that going and in a good stable place, and then I could start figuring out. Because the thing about writing YouTube guides specifically is they're very, very time-consuming. I will put weeks, sometimes even months. Like my leveling guides, it takes me about half a year to make that. It is not quick. Like some of my other guides, hours and hours and hours just to make a 7-minute video, which sounds insane, but I like to make sure my research is as accurate as possible, so I'm giving you correct information as much as possible. Like, we're gonna make errors, but my point in saying that is I've had to dial back on myself a bit, because when I started YouTube in the first couple of years, I was in college full-time in an advanced course, so it was 24/7 college. I was working 2 different jobs. I was just coming out of a very toxic relationship on top of it, and trying to fight bankruptcy because of it. And I had all this stuff, and on and on and on and on and on. And then I ended up, even though I got better out of that, I dropped a lot of that. I got down to 1 job and my YouTube. I realized I was putting so much of myself into my YouTube channel, which is not a bad thing, but it was too much. I was literally not sleeping on weekends to make sure guides could get out. And I did that for 4 years straight. And I am now in my 30s, and it has messed up some of my health. Don't sacrifice yourself too much, even if it's something you love, because I think I was clinging to it, if that makes sense, because I had too much going on, and it was kind of my safe haven.
Mm-hmm.
So
almost like your identity,
yeah.
like you are
Yeah.
You are your YouTube Krakenlatte type thing. Like, whereas
Exactly.
behind Krakenlatte, you kind of stopped caring about that person.
Pretty much. I became my persona, if you will.
It's a hard one, that. Yeah.
It is. But that stemmed from having too many things going on at the same time. And so, like, if you feel that pressure, step back for a second and look at what you're doing and assess, as much as I don't like the phrase, what's serving you? What is and isn't serving you? Like, it feels so, I don't know, icky to say it, but it really is true. Like, if something over here, you're doing it, you're putting so much time into it, but you're not getting anything out of it, not even pure enjoyment, stop doing it. You don't have time for it.
I had to have
one chance.
I had to have an awful conversation like 2 weeks ago with my partner, and I basically said, "Hey, Kat, I'm making money at doing this. I don't care about it as much. Like, I still care about it, but it's not my passion. Then I've got this, which is my passion, and I'm making no money at it at all.
Yep.
What should I focus on?" And she goes, "Look, until we get that house where we're happy, we're settled, and we've got what we want, you need to focus on making the money, ultimately, because you've got bills to pay. when you've got, that house, we've got situated, at that point, focus only on your passion, because that's all that matters. It's about, that. And we'll scratch by whatever we can do at that point. And because it's only like a space of 6 months to a year that I've got to wait till that point, it was like one of those, it's like, you need to, right now, focus on what's changing the bottom line. And it sucked to hear, because it was the truth. And I needed to hear it,
Yep, that's pretty much the exact scenario of what I had to deal with. It's just I had to put up with stuff I didn't enjoy because it was making the money and keeping the bread on the table. And I don't have a partner to help. At the time when I started, I had to move back in with my parents because the business I was working for literally went under. And I was destitute. So it's like, it can be degrading at times.
Yeah.
But like we said earlier, it's always darkest before the dawn. And like as sappy as that kind of is, it really is true, having been through many scenarios like that myself. So
Yeah.
just keep pressing on. You'll get through it.
I was making like $100 a month for 2 years, basically, as a content creator. And then like the 2-year mark comes around, and suddenly it just turns into a full-time income. Like it literally, in a space of a month, I went from $100 to full-time income, and I was just like, what is it now? 2 years later.
Right? It could be, you can have such, it's like an investment. You can have such delayed gratification on stuff like that. And it's kind of the same for me. Because like for all of Shadowlands, I'd make like $40-50 a month, maybe. And it's just, after, pulling $1,200 a month during BFA, big difference. And I'm like, where did everybody go?
Yeah.
But
it is what it is.
That's kind of the nature of the beast.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I describe content creation to like anyone that's like ever interested, like, because I'm sure you get this, people asking about wanting to start content creation, and they ask for your advice and what it's like earning money, stuff like that. I always use this description, and for me it works perfectly. I'm not sure if it will work for you, but I describe it like pushing a snowball up a hill. And you're pushing it, and it's getting bigger, and it's getting harder to push. Every step you take up the hill, that snowball's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's so hard to push at the very end. And then suddenly you get to the tippy top, and you just push it, and suddenly it's like an avalanche going downhill, and then you're chasing after it. And I think that like whole 2-year mark for me was me pushing it uphill, realizing if I don't start making money soon, I need to actually find a career, and suddenly I get to the tippy top, and it becomes an avalanche. And
precisely, that does apply to me, with the slight alteration that for me, my start of my YouTube channel was actually better than the middle. I started at the top of the hill. My gold guides went through the roof, which kills me because I didn't get paid for any of it. I wasn't monetized yet. But like, I started at the top. I just kind of went, and pushed the snowball, and down we went. And I'm like, this is awesome! Rode it all the way down. And then year 2 or 3 came around. And see, that's where it flipped. Suddenly I was pushing up, and it was getting harder and harder and harder. And I feel like I'm at that point where I'm halfway up the next hill because it's getting difficult.
Yeah, it's like there's a phrase my brother uses all the time. He's a YouTuber as well. He's called Josh the Driving Instructor. Teaches people how to drive on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
And he uses the term peaks and troughs with YouTube.
Yep.
It's like he has ups and downs constantly. He never knows what it's going to be. Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And it's not very stable. It really isn't. Like, you have to be very big, like Mr. GM Markiplier levels of big for it to really not matter too much, honestly. Granted, I can't speak for their financial, but from what I have seen, you gotta have a very good cushion to be able to survive the peaks and valleys if you're just in it for the money. Or if you're just doing it for fun, then I hope you keep enjoying it, because you're not going to get a lot of payoff if you're just following your passion. Can speak. Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
that you do. I actually had this conversation yesterday with someone, a content creator who's doing really well on YouTube. It's making no money.
Yep.
He's got a good number of subscribers. He's making a little bit of money, but not much, and he wants to
Yep.
become full time. And he was like, "So how do I do it?" I was like, "Well, you have to understand that there's your passion, and then there's things that pay the bills, and you need to find the best of both worlds in that."
Happy medium.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially if you've got a family, especially if you've got children, you need to provide for them. That it's like, especially in that circumstance,
Precisely. Yep. And
Yeah.
that's pretty much what it is, honestly, because you can look at my channel and go, wow, she's got a lot of subscribers, but I don't get paid for the amount of subscribers I had. I get paid in views. That's how you get paid as a YouTuber if you're not doing
Yeah.
sponsors.
And
so
yeah.
it's very common analytically that you'll get 1/10 of the views of your subscriber number, according to YouTube. And it is very true. I have noticed it. And so I'm pushing 50K, which is awesome, subscribers on YouTube. But remember, it's free to subscribe. You don't get paid for that. YouTube doesn't care about your subs. They care about your views. And how long people watch, too.
You
So
know
it's
what's
like...
interesting about our niche, gaming, is it is the worst paying niche per 1,000 views.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's awful.
So, just so you are aware, I don't mean to hurt your feelings here or anything like that, okay? I've got 2 YouTube channels. I've got my gaming channel, and then I've got a online income strategies channel. I have to work 6 times harder to earn the same amount on Erosium than I do on that channel.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
That channel is at minimum monetization, and I can get literally divided by 6 the amount of views and still earn more on that channel than on Erosium.
It's insane, isn't it? Like, it really is.
It's like $25 per 1,000 views. And then on Erosium, it's like $4 to $5 per 1,000.
Yeah, it's kind of insane, isn't it? Like, when you really start looking at the math. That's why, like, I had to stop looking, because I'm just like, this is hurting my soul.
Yeah, when I was looking at the RPM, I was like, nah.
Right.
Why did I become a gamer?
Right. And that's the funny thing, too. Like, I make 3 to 4 times, if not 5 times as much on Twitch than I do on YouTube.
Wow.
But yet YouTube is how I made the community. I get paid next to nothing for YouTube, unfortunately. Like, I think last month I made like $50. Like, it's not much. Then over here on Twitch, I'm like, I almost have enough to cover all of my bills, plus some debt bills that I have. And I'm just like, it's so deflating, because one requires so much more work, but the other one's making the money. But you need both in this case, because the one is feeding the other.
Yeah.
So it's like...
And the worst bit is, if you wanted to really earn more money, you know that you could, but you don't want to sacrifice your passion in order to do that.
Precisely. I worked in marketing and corporate marketing for many years, suit and tie job, 6 a.m. speeches, hated it. I don't care how good I was. I don't care how much money I was making. I do not want to go back to it. I refuse.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because life sucks when you're a corporate slave. In all honesty, it does.
It really does.
Yeah.
It really does.
I used to be in sales, and no, never ever again.
I feel that. Yep.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. Mine was marketing for an aviation company. We'll just leave it at that. And it's
Yeah.
I don't miss it. I really don't.
Yeah.
Even though I was pulling in the big checks.
Yeah.
I don't miss it.
Don't blame me at all. So, what do you love about World of Warcraft most?
Let's see. Honestly, I would probably say kind of 2 things. Like, the Warcraft franchise itself. I love the lore. I love the history, the background, the characters. Like, I'm never really super into the A plot, which is like the main campaign story overarching throughout the expansions, but it's the world building behind it that really keeps me interested in World of Warcraft compared to other MMOs, we'll compare it. Like that keeps me very happy. And I love the world building, and I think that's why like I liked Shadowlands so much. And I know a lot of people are going to hate me for that. I didn't like the overarching story. I hated it. It was garbage. The whole Sylvanas and Arthas and Anduin. No. But the background, the Kyrian, like the story with that, the Revendreth stuff, Daddy D, Denathrius, we might see him again. Like, just that background stuff. Ardenweald. I cried. I cried so much in Ardenweald. Oh my gosh. That's what keeps me in a WoW. And secondarily, it's so shockingly solo player friendly. Like, I haven't done any competitive content since BFA Season 1, because I used to be a hardcore raider from mid-mop all the way to BFA Season 1, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna become a collector. And I did. And the only things I can't do are current raids, current dungeon, like Mythic Plus specifically, or current PvP. I can do 90% of the rest of the game by myself. And like, that's not the case with a lot of other MMOs. Like, even Final Fantasy, like, I have played that off and on with my friends, and it's just, I don't know, there's something about WoW that feels accessible.
Yeah.
Which is funny, because I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me.
Totally.
But, like, yeah. But I think those two top things, the story, like, the lore and the world building, and then the solo player friendliness. Like, it's an MMO if I choose it to be. I'm not forced into it.
Yeah.
At least I don't feel like I am.
You play the game on your terms.
Exactly. And I like that about it, because I have a lot of agency with things.
So, I just asked, what's your favourite thing about World of Warcraft?
Mm-hmm.
Can you guess what the next question is?
Oh, what's my least favorite thing?
Yeah.
Yes. What do I hate about World of Warcraft? All right, well, I do have some points. I don't have any paper. Crap, I was going to rattle some papers just to...
So, what do you hate
my
most?
list.
What's your most hated thing in World of Warcraft?
I know. Honestly, I think it would be... I'm going to double pair it again, but the lack of player... I know this is kind of flies in the face of what I just said, but in terms of lore and fantasy, the lack of player agency when it comes to race, class, and faction identity. I know that's super specific, but as someone who absolutely adores the lore, it drives me bonkers when someone says, "Well, that's not lore possible." I'm like, have you read the books? Have you, like, there's this guy over there that does this thing who is this class race combo, and it does exist. Like,
can you explain that
Paladins.
to me? What you mean,
Sure.
like, about this all?
Sure. Like, here's a good example. We don't have Night Elf Paladins as a playable race class combo, right? We'll bring this down to a super basic level for folks, because I know I tend to get pretty meta. We don't have Night Elves as Paladins. So when you say Paladin, what do you think of Paladin? You think light, Naro worshipping, but it's more than that. If you actually look at the other races, every race has their own unique source of light. Even Tyr uses light that isn't specific to the Naru, because the Naru use holy light. So, like, Elun's light is a thing. We have priests.
Yeah.
Tyrande is a priestess who uses Elun's light. And so we could have Night Elf Paladins.
So a different type of holy light type thing.
Precisely, from a different source, but it's still light. And, like, so when I say we need Night Elf Paladins, there's even 2 of them in game, like, because they're in the Legion Order Hall, there's 2 of them. People will say it's not accurate to the lore, and that drives me crazy, because I'm like, please think outside the box for a second. It absolutely can be.
Theoretically, all druids could become demon hunters.
Theoretically, I can see it.
Okay, because Illidan was a druid first. Okay, actually, no, he was a mage first.
He was a mage first.
He's a mage first in the books. Then he became a druid with his brother, and then he became a demon hunter.
Yeah, was it the other way around? It's something to that effect, but yes.
Yes.
He was all those things at one point.
Because they were both in love with the same lady, him and his brother were.
Yes, exactly. And like, and on the note of demon hunters, that's just a fantastic topic too, because like so many people are like, oh, you can't be a human demon hunter because it doesn't fit the lore. Why doesn't it fit the lore? I say it does, because what is a demon hunter? They gave a great sacrifice to defend their people and
They
become who
literally
they
just
were.
hunt demons.
They
Like,
hunt demons.
they
They use the power of Fel. Like, anybody could do that.
yeah.
It's I'm very much under the if it can be taught, it can be learned sort of mindset. Magic is teachable.
Are you saying there should
Fighting
be
styles are
gnome demon
teachable.
hunters? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. So,
Flying
I
hamsters.
yes. And I know that can be a little silly on some points,
Yes.
but that's, I guess, because I look at it more as a deeper passion.
Yes.
I think that's what drives me nuts when even Blizzard will say, well, I can't, I'm like, they recently said, I can't imagine a goblin as a druid. And that's like one of their points for why they aren't. I was like, are you kidding me?
But that's silly.
That seems silly because there's two points to this real quick on that specific topic. And it's just perfect for this. One, I can, because if you pay a goblin enough money, they will do anything. Okay. And two, I don't like stereotyping. I know I just did, but every single person is different. So we kind of unfortunately play World of Racecraft
Yeah.
because it's so racist, really, between the different races. Like, the factions themselves are not based on their political fantasy beliefs. It's a race thing. If you make an orc,
There's a
You're
lot
always
of
orc.
like basketball players, random topic, I know, but
Mhm.
they aren't very tall. Like they're
Mhm.
small. You know?
Mhm.
How can they play basketball as a pro?
Exactly.
They're not like 7 foot tall. Like
Precisely. Yeah. But like,
yeah.
it's the same thing. And like, so you're telling me this, we'll use an orc for example, since that's a very good topic. This orc can't change his beliefs. He's not allowed to be like, well, I believe as a monk in neutrality and tranquility, but I can't be allies with my human friend who I served with in the Order of the Cloud Serpents, for example, if you did that.
Mm-hmm.
Because of my faction, because I'm an orc. Like, that's
Yeah.
racism.
Let's just get it. Let's not get it twisted. A goblin loses both his parents in a tragic war. Then a loving night elf family come along and they decide to adopt this little baby goblin that they find. They're like, yeah, we're going to adopt you and you're going to be raised in the night elf ways. Are you telling me just because he's a goblin, he doesn't have the ability to become a druid?
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're gonna shun him even though they actively adopted him from those teachings?
Mm-hmm.
That's cold. Like, you can't tell me that's really happening.
Yeah. It's like someone saying, oh, I can't imagine warriors becoming shamans. What's Thrall then?
What's Thrall? Yeah. He's switched back and forth like 3 times at this point.
He was raised in a arena from a child all the way up to adult life as a warrior in the arena fighting the most vicious creatures possible. Then escaped Durnhold but to reunite the tribesmen, and he learned the ways of shamanism from Drekthar and became a shaman
so cool.
warrior. You know?
Yeah. It's such a wonderful arc. Like, I love that growth in characters like that.
It's like, why can't we do that with goblins, dude?
Right? I don't know. But that's like, to wrap that all up, that's my most hated thing I think about World of Warcraft, and that partly stems from the devs themselves and partly from the community. Because
I think you've given me a new thing to hate about World of Warcraft.
Because like, sorry, but
my favorite class is druid and my favorite race is goblin, and now you've done it. Now you've done it.
I know. I'm sorry.
Because like the thing I hate most about World of Warcraft is bad villains. How they always do a villain and then make us forgive them at the end rather than just kill them, or like they're very pick and choosy about who they kill and who they don't, and it gets a little bit sus after a while. You just start to notice patterns, and you're like, I don't like this whole pattern of who we are allowed to kill and who we're not. as villains and who we've got to forgive, it just makes me feel a little bit uneasy.
Yeah.
You know, about it, and the whole trying to teach us morality as gamers when we're just here to play a game.
We're literally just murder hobos at the end of the day.
Literally, we see someone who, like Sylvanas, who kills thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, nearly wipes out
Children
an entire...
included.
Huh?
Children included.
Children included, exactly. Everything, right? And then we just have to forgive her and say, right, okay, you go to the mall. Oh, come on, bro, just kill her.
Right.
What are we talking about right now?
And her little ordeal is sketch, too, the way they did it, because they tried to save it at the end, because if you notice, too, in her case, she didn't have her complete soul.
Yeah.
And then, so who she wasn't even there for her. Like, I'm not defending her. She still needs to pay for what she did. But the jailer gave her soul back, I think, out of spite. Because he knew exactly what she was going to have to put up with. Like, oh, you want to be free? There you go. Have fun with that. But and so, yeah.
How amazing would it have been, in the nicest way, the most awful way possible, she gets her soul back, realizes all the awful things she's done, and then we kill her. So she dies going with the thoughts of, I killed a whole race of people. And
honestly,
that is like, it makes me cry, that level of awful situation, you know, it's Arthas level.
Yes, because think of it like on that, if we roll with that, think of that as we have this tear-jerking cinematic because she's realizing what she did, but it's too late because we don't realize that she's herself again and we can't do anything about it, and off with her head, and then we're like crying like, no, she could have
yeah, we just killed someone not knowing the situation.
Exactly.
And that is like, it teaches you more about morality than what they did. You know, because what they did was like, you must learn to forgive people, but ultimately it's not the way world works. If someone makes a mistake, you're not understanding, you react, and then later you find out what happened, and then you gain some understanding.
Precisely.
But it's too late at that point, you know?
Sometimes it is too late.
Yeah.
Like my saying is, it's never too latte, but that's not entirely a true statement.
But yeah, that's my pet peeve / hate, but you give me a new one now.
Well, like I said, I've got a list, and I picked that one out of a hat, as it were. So
what improvement would you like to see in World of Warcraft in the future?
Improvement. Ooh. Well, I think it kind of stems to a similar topic of player agency in terms of choice for class race combos, and I would love to be able to pick my faction. I want more depth in it, but that's all kind of related in, like, not just player agency for that sort of story, but also recognizing the player is the player, not the character on Blizzard's end, which we are starting to move that direction. Just the account-wide stuff, I don't have to redo all of this crap on my alt because I decided to play a druid for their lore instead of a demon hunter. You know, just that sort of improvement, which we are going that direction. And like I like to tell people, we'll win eventually. In 20 years, I'll be a new Night Elf Paladin, right? And
I'll be a Goblin Druid.
Exactly. It's that type of stuff. And like, I want to see improvements in those areas because we are, at the end of the day, an MMORPG.
Yeah.
And those things don't feel very RPG-ish.
True.
When you don't have the choice that you want. So, you know.
Couple of personal questions to get to know you more outside of World of Warcraft.
Sure.
Cats or dogs?
Oh boy, I have both, so that's a hard question.
Oh. Both. You can go both.
Both, honestly. I'd have to go both. I do have both. I have 3 little kittens, and I'm a mama kitty, and I have a dog. She's very old now. I might have to get a puppy soon.
That's adorable.
I have lots of animals. I have
what breed dog is it?
She is a North Canadian Labrador.
So
she's
Labrador.
She big doge.
My Labrador ran into a garden ornament the other day and cracked his head open.
Oh Oh no!
Yeah, so now he's
He
got
must
like
hit that hard.
yeah, it's that hard. He created a 3-inch gash, 1 inch deep, and
Oh
he cracked
gosh.
his skull as well.
Oh gosh.
It was that bad, so I had to rush him to the vet to get like 12 stitches.
Uh,
And now
oh.
it's healed like really fast. But he's got like a weird little scar above his eyebrow where it happened. I was just
Well.
like, how? It's been there for 6 years. Why did you run into it now?
Oh, dogs.
He
I
looks
feel
kind of
that.
proud of himself.
He's got battle scars.
You know, on stream today, I googled Labrador scars, and it is surprising how many other Labradors have that same scar.
I'm not surprised. I've done something somewhat similar with my dog. When she was little, she loved running right in front of me while I'm trying to work, and I was outside because I live on a tree farm where we farm fruit trees and pine trees and fir trees for lumber and all that. And so I was digging a hole with a shovel, and she dove right into it, and I cracked her right in the head with the shovel. And it's one of those pointed ones. I thought I killed her. I was in tears over it, but she's got a scar from it now. And she still tries to do it. And I'm like, dog, what is wrong with you?
It's so annoying when they get under your feet as well.
Mm-hmm.
So outside of World of Warcraft, what are your interests and hobbies?
Well, that's a little difficult. Just because I really am a gamer. I play other games as my other hobbies. I used to be an artist, but I just kind of lost passion for it over the years. I'm technically also a writer, but I haven't worked on my novel in probably 5 or 6 years at this point, so I don't know if I can call myself a writer anymore. But I love that sort of stuff, and like outside of WoW, I also love improv roleplay. Like kind of Dungeons and Dragons style, but with a one-on-one with a friend. Like that's what I love doing in my spare time is RP. And like the stories and shenanigans we create is just fantastic. And that's kind of like what's brought me joy, I think, in terms of hobbies. And it doesn't cost anything besides having a bestie that will do it with you. So
yeah,
I know it doesn't stray far.
Your brain
from
is
World
so
of Warcraft.
creative. Like it's so cool that you do that type of stuff.
Oh well, thank you. I really enjoy it. I love. Like, I love world building. Like, that type of stuff is, like, really what I wanted to do. I wanted to go into a gaming career to do the lore, the histories, character development, world building, stuff like that. I didn't go that route. Let's just say I'm glad I didn't after a couple of internships. But, yeah, I still have a passion for that. And so I can get that passion out in RP. Roleplay. So it works. It works.
So, what's one thing about like your gaming journey that your community or viewers might not know about you?
I actually prefer console gaming.
What?
Yes, I really wish World of Warcraft was
No
like on my PS3.
way.
Yes, I do not like
Are
playing
you
computer
serious?
games. I'm dead serious.
Oh my gosh, now I'm shocked.
I know. There you go. Again,
I
dropped you
prefer
a shocker.
consoles.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Philip is sick.
I played all of Legion and part of WoD with a controller back in the day. I raided with it.
Really? That's so cool.
Yep.
They're really trying to tailor World of Warcraft to that right now, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. They are. They're definitely trying to move that direction again, and it's kind of interesting to see if it's going to pan out. I'm awfully set up the way I am now. I don't know if I'll change, but yeah, I really do prefer console gaming. I like my consoles. I like not being, what do they say, critically online or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I like just kind of turning off from the rest of the world and playing some Pokemon for a while or something. Like,
yeah, my partner and I play Pokemon Go every day. We go for a walk every day and we play Pokemon Go.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
It's so cool, isn't it?
It really is.
It's a passion of ours, and we like to go to like busy areas every now and again for like a community day or something like that. And we meet up with like 100 other like Pokemon players all at the same time. We play for 3 hours, like walking around a city center together.
Oh, that's fun. That is
Yeah,
absolutely fun.
it's so cool. And they're all like 30-year-olds. They're all like my age, players. Occasionally they'd bring their kids along, that type of stuff. It's just,
Hmm.
it's so heartwarming to see a bunch of gamers playing Pokemon together.
Well, I'm kind of not surprised that they're mostly our age because I'm 32, and like my first game ever when I was little was Pokemon Yellow for the Game Boy Color. Like
Yeah,
that
that
came
was so
out in
good.
our lifespan.
Yeah.
So for me it was kind of cool to see it come back around again in popularity because I've always been a Pokemon fan, Zelda fan, like Metroid fan, all that stuff. I'm a Nintendo stan for sure. I love a lot of like, other like Halo and like a lot of that sort of stuff, but I'm mostly a Nintendo person. But there for a while when I was in high school, it wasn't cool to like Pokemon. And so like I was so used to that stigma of, yeah, I'm a Pokemon nerd. What are you gonna do about it? And then now it's like, oh, you play Pokemon, that's so cool. And I'm like, whoa. I'm getting used to that as an old person. But
So,
it's our
quick
gen.
question. If you
Yeah.
could design your own World of Warcraft expansion, what would it be?
Oh gosh. Oh, oh, that's layered. I didn't come prepared for that one. Prepare next week for my 10-page essay. Anyway, no. Let's see. What would it be? It put me on the spot here because that's tasty.
Let me say my bit, okay? And then
Go ahead,
it might give you a
please.
second to like think about the question and stuff. Um, I would do a gnome and goblin focused expansion
Mm,
where I don't know, they like maybe like how Ant-Man there's like a universe that's like in the sub-universe type thing.
mm.
I would want to do something like that with goblins and gnomes where they design a technology that sends you into like a tiny universe and there's like a goblin and gnome city that
Oh,
we
that'd be cool.
we go into and it automatically turns you into a goblin or a gnome depending on your faction.
That's awesome.
And it's like really small, like everything's really small. It's like perfectly sized for their races. um
Kind of Minish Cap style.
yeah, and people get around on like scooters and stuff, like the really like technological stuff, and like the
Mm,
whole expansion is centralized around that,
that's
and
adorable.
the things that they do. I think that would be really
That
cool.
that is really cool. That is really adorable. Honestly, I would love that, dude. It is kind of hard for me to pick just one because like I love so much of World of Warcraft's lore. Like the things, like the big hitters for me are like the Titans, the old gods, obviously, the lights, just like I guess I could say the cosmic pillars. And like I like to tell people Shadowlands was too soon. Too soon, Executus was Shadowlands because Blizzard has said in the past, we want to explore the cosmic pillars and expansions in the future. And what that is, for those of you that don't know, look up the cosmic chart of World of Warcraft. Every magic is governed by a pantheon, a realm made entirely of that magic. And it's so cool because that's like deep lore that you don't really think about, that you don't really see in the game. Like Shadowlands isn't even the whole death pillar. That's our access of it for our mortal souls. We don't even see the actual death pantheon. We're just their puppets. Their little minion friends.
Wow.
Like that's the cool thing. That's like old school lore that is still there and they said they want to explore that. So if they could do it right, I really want to see the others. I want to go where Elune is. I want to see the life realm, the nature realm. Like, who are the other gods? They've made mention of them. It's not the wild gods. The wild gods are the second tier. Who's the top one? Elune's up there somewhere. I want to go see who's governing the Naru. Like, just that type of stuff. Like, I want to see a realm made entirely of light. What would that be like? I don't know. But if they could do it somehow in a good way, any one of those would make me happy.
They'd
To
have
be
to involve
completely honest,
Odin in some way with that. Like if it was
they
like,
probably would.
yeah, if it was like a realm of like light,
Hmm.
our boy Odin's got to throw us there or something.
Something, but like, I know that's so archaic or like abstract, but the better word for it. But anything like that, that's what gets me revved. Like, I love that stuff.
That's
Just
so
the cosmic
sick. I,
stuff.
I honestly, that would be so awesome. The pantheons, I'd love to dive into something like that.
Ooh, And like, here's one that's a little more easier for people to visualize: the Void Gods. The Void Gods are the ones that sent the Old Gods. Who are the Old Gods? They are cosmic, basically space loogies that have been spat out by the Void Gods from their home dimension to infect other worlds to find world souls and stuff. That's what the Old Gods are. They're the secondary. They're the pantheonic equivalent to Wild Gods. Who are the Void Gods? And are we going to see something related to that with Xalatath? I don't know.
You just made me
Like-
think of something in Star Wars, like so hard there.
I
you
love
know,
Star Wars,
you know
so
that
it's
the
okay.
Jedi Council, like
Yeah.
people often see it like as the Jedis are the good guys and the Sith are the bad guys. But
Mhm.
like that's like one of the most misunderstood things in the Star Wars universe.
Absolutely.
It's
Yes.
like their purpose isn't to be good guys. Like
Mm-mm.
it's to be the balance of the Force.
Precisely.
and-
It's to go.
With
Bring
balance, there is good and there is evil. And you
Mhm.
could technically have an evil person as a Jedi, which is often happens, which is the balance
Yep.
of the Force. Which is
Yep. Which, that's exactly like what gets me excited. Like, so
That's
many
why you
people
made me
have been
think
like,
of it. Yeah.
yeah, right. Because it's that same topic. Because some people are like, oh, the void's evil and the light's good. I'm like, is it though?
Is it though? Or is their job to just balance it?
Mm-hmm. Because
Like-
they have their own agenda.
Are they both on a scales and they're balancing it? One gets worse and the other one has to get worse. Like, you know?
Precisely. Exactly. And it's that stuff that gets me really excited in like lore and like story development.
Mm-hmm.
That any one of those I would be very happy with in a new expansion.
Me too.
Honestly.
I can't wait for War Within.
Oh, same. I am so hyped. I think I've been more hyped for War Within the trilogy than I have since Legion. I had to really think for a second.
Does it sound awful
honestly.
if I say I don't care so much about the content creation I'm going to do in War Within? I just can't wait for War Within.
No, yeah. I completely understand. I'm kind of in the same, like, I keep telling myself, like, oh, I need to make a comeback. War Within's gonna be perfect for content creation. And I'm like, I'm just gonna go experience it all first, though. I want to enjoy it first and then do content on it.
Exactly.
So that's why streaming has kind of been a blessing, because, like, I can kind of do both at the same time a little bit. And I'm not gone from the face of the earth. I can go enjoy my game, and then like people are like, oh, with me, there's nerding out, and I can point out lore facts because I know a lot of the deep lore. I love it. I have an entire bookshelf dedicated to WoW lore. It's a little obsessive, anyway. But like, and then I'm like, oh, this thing with this person, did you know it was from that planet with this other guy? And they're like, oh, that's so cool. So, it's just stuff like that.
So,
I'm so excited.
have you got any goals for like content creation or your career in general? What is your goals right now?
Well, my goal, honestly, I've got a couple in terms of content creation, specifically for WoW on my YouTube channel. I want to become kind of financially stable. I know that sounds kind of esoteric with everything we've been talking about, but I really do want to become financially stable on my YouTube channel so that I don't feel like I'm wasting my time constantly because I get next to nothing from my work. And I know that's again, it's a me thing, kind of going back to the imposter syndrome, but also
I
like
love that goal,
want...
by the way. It's so realistic and it's down to earth, and that's the way I think most people should be looking at things.
Well, thank you, because that's what I want. I don't want to be like big, huge, amazing. I just want to do it enough that I feel like I'm being compensated for my time, but I also enjoy my job. Like, is that too much to ask? I mean, so that's honestly my goal. And Twitch is lumped in with that because it's been helping me with that. It's been helping me go, okay, I can make this work. I still feel like I'm being productive, even though I'm not making as many guides as I'd like. And it's actually paying pretty good. So, But that's my goal, to become financially
I
stable.
love that. It's a great goal. Great goal.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I think for mine, it's similar. It's just keep grinding, keep making as much money as possible until I can finally move to the countryside. And when I can move back to the countryside, I think at that point, I'll just focus on passion and just living a happy life.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to for me. I just want to be happy
What
and
does a
not
rich
be
life look
constantly
like
worried.
for Krakenlatte?
A rich life for me, gosh, I'd be out of debt. I'd have my college paid off. I'd not have to worry about food or fuel or home. Like, just stability. Like, to me, that's the rich life. Just rich
Yeah,
in happiness and safety. Like,
yeah.
not this constant fear of, oh gosh, am I going to run out of food this week? Or, oh gosh, can I pay, like, the fuel? Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's my version of a rich life, honestly.
For me, similar to that. I've got 3 kids, 5 dogs,
Aw.
and maybe some
Yes.
ducks.
Oh, I love ducks. I have ducks. They're so cute. I love
That's what I
duckies.
want.
Duckies are adorable. Super
Hopefully,
cute.
one day. That's the goal.
One day. It's a good goal. It's a good
Well,
goal.
Krakenlatte, honestly, this has been just the best podcast ever. I really,
Aw.
really am so thankful for you joining me here.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been absolutely wonderful. I squeed when I saw that you asked me to join a podcast. Thank you.
Well, I will say this right now. This has been so much fun. I'd love to have you again in the future.
Of course, I would love to join another one.
Great, great. In future, what we'll do is I'll try and set like a rough category of topic we can talk about for World of Warcraft and stuff like that.
Perfect.
Um,
Help keep us focused because I'm very all over the place.
and we bounce off each other as well.
Yes, yes. Oh
You sent
gosh.
me down the rabbit hole with the goblin.
I'm good at rabbit holes, trust me.
Well, thank you so much, Krakenlatte. And guys, do me a favor, go to the description, go to the comments, write something nice about Kraken. Tell her why she shouldn't have imposter syndrome. Tell her why you like her content, and then follow her on the social medias in both the comments and the description. Okay, everything's going to be there.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for watching, everyone. This is Erosium and Krakenlatte out.
Bye.